Guess what? Something came in the mail today. It's my phone. Not sure why they're calling, but they can let a message. Alright, let's get back to it. Acerbis, oversized tank, 3.6, and no, it's not black. I know the Honda has a fuel gauge, and I should have just went black, but I still always prefer to be able to see the fuel, or with it being light colored like this, you could open the cap and look down in and see if you got anything floating in there. It's easy to pick up if you got any debris in there or scum, in case you would need to dump it out of your tank or see what's going on with something down in there. So anyhow, this is how it comes wrapped up. I'm gonna pull this plastic off and see what we got going here. It says off-road use only. Come on. Of course, you got your little hose that goes on top of your filler right there, your filler cap. Go down through, breather. You have a bag of hardware. I'll go through that on a close-up. Decal, Acerbis. And we have instruction sheet. Front and back. Get a little closer here. We got several rubber spacers. Some odd looking fuel filter thing there. It looks like, you can kind of take a look in there if you can see in the bag. Several grommets, spacers, bolts, some Velcro. So what I'm going to do is get in the other building over here where the bike is, and I'm going to go ahead and you basically have to take the seat off. It's showing here your radiator side panels. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And see about getting the tank off, see how I have to disconnect the tank, and we'll kind of go from there and tune back in. So hang on. Okay, we're over at the bike now. Got the seat off. Of course, seat, bolt each side in the back, slide it back, pull it off. I have the other side panel off. And of course the side panel is Allen head, Allen head, Allen head, or hex head, whatever you want to call it. Then on the left side you'll have two of these little push pins. It'll look like that when you look down on it. And you have to take a pick or something like that and you just push the center in ever so slightly. Like that. You'll hear it click. And then you just put something under the whole thing and lift it out. And you'll be good to go. There's one on this side, two on the left side up top. This one I have everything out of, and there's also a piece of like a Velcro type stuff on here that holds the side panels, which it doesn't work very well. You can see this piece is still on the tank, this piece is on the tank, and it took the piece off of the side panel with it. That's supposed to be on there. right here. See, that should have come off and stuck on right about here. Set that stuff aside. Now I'm gonna do, listen, I've never done this on the 300, so the 250L I did put a bigger tank on, first time on this one. So it looks like we have some 8mm head bolts. Michael Jackson style. One glove. And I forgot to mention, that tank was $257 with free shipping from Rocky Mountain ATVMC, which is a pretty good deal because a lot of places are still charging the $321 for it. And it was out of stock probably for 2 months. And I had my email in for a notification, and I got the notification, there goes my socket. I got the notification on Friday morning last week, and it arrived Monday, today, right around noon, lunchtime. Okay, I still have one more bolt to take out, but that's what you're going to be taking out. The black ones are near this back of the tank, and this one is up front on the side. And I cannot remember how the fuel line disconnects on the Honda, so we'll have to learn that here when we get to that stage. And of course, I have a fuel tank, a full tank of gas, so it's heavy. Okay, so looks like you have to do some spreading and pushing. That was a small line that went down to the charcoal canister, which I have disconnected. Plug for the fuel pump. This looks like one little tab there you press in and that comes loose. Trying to see what we have going on here for disconnecting the fuel line. I've done this kind of stuff on all kind of automobiles. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you what I pulled out here. This clip here in the fuel line. And what I did is I just put this pick tool down in there and pushed out this way and got it out. Just be gentle, you don't want to break it. I'm hoping that was enough to release it. I hate being 50 years old and not being able to see close up and wear glasses. Okay. So we got that off. Really hard to see down inside there. There was also two little black ears that I had to push apart to the outside like that, and then this popped right off. Alright, just need somewhere to lay this down. Alright, so there's the look at the underside of the tank. Okay, right now I'm going to put my grommets in the tank. See if I can get it on there. All the hole, there's 4 of these holes in the tank, and it takes this rubber grommet right here like this. You got to pop these through. Hopefully you can see this. Camera's all jukified. I'm going to push them through with a screwdriver. Put a little Windex on them, something like that. Get them started through one way and just for the love of God, can you get on the camera? So there. Jesus, I can't see the camera. Okay, so I got those 2 in. I got to do 2 more up here. Then we're going to go ahead and swap out this fuel pump. Okay, attempt to swap everything out here. Lost my 10mm. Where'd you go? I know I just dropped you. Grab another one. All right. Okay, to mount the fuel pump onto the new tank, they give you 4 bolts like this with a washer, because this has studs with nuts. Like me, stud with nuts. I know on my 250L, I reused the gasket that was on here and I never had any issues, so hopefully I don't have any issues with this one either. There's your nuts off. Break the seal. How the hell do we get that? Okay, I finally got the fuel pump out. Don't make the mistake I did. When you take your tank off, dump the fuel directly out before you do anything. I made the mistake of thinking the fuel pump would come right out, but I had to finagle it and I had gas going everywhere. So, idiot mistake, make sure you dump all the gas out first. Now the fuel pump, I took everything out and you have to do a lot of finagling. You see this, the little metering rod here for your fuel gauge. That's down in there, and you have this big hunk right here sticking off, and you got to do a lot of, be very gentle, pull up, and you have to kind of work this section right here out of the hole, and then once you get it popped out, your little fuel gauge rod here will come out. Just be very careful with that. And I should have taken a picture of how this was oriented when I took it out of the tank, and I didn't. So I'm not even sure how the hell this thing goes in. You can see how I kind of tilted it around there. You want to make sure everything is good and clean here too. And you would think when you put this down, you have these collars coming up that accept the new bolts. You kind of want to think that this metal should slide down over them. Well, it doesn't. It's sitting up on top, and there's room for, when you tighten it, to crush the rubber gasket. Okay, I figured out how to have it situated because I wasn't paying attention, being an idiot. That's the front of the tank, so you can see how everything is situated here. I'm going to go ahead and get my 4 bolts. They recommend to put anti-seize on any bolt that you're putting in this tank, so that when you ever go to take them loose, you don't spin out the nut cert in the plastic. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease on all 4 of them, and then go ahead and put them in here. I love dealing with gasoline, especially when you're spilling it all over the place and your whole freaking shop smells like gas for 2 days. Make sure these go in very, very easy so you do not cross thread them. There is a little white stud on the fuel pump here that gets it situated in this metal collar in the correct spot. Just don't be like me, take a picture or remember which way it's situated, or have a buddy like let you know if you're putting it in wrong. I get ahead of myself and I don't pay attention. You can pop this hose off too to get into this bolt better here. A little crisscross. Crisscross will make it jump. Yeah, I don't know any torque specs on this. I don't even think they give you any. They just tell you not to over torque it. This plate should bottom out on the inserts that they have there. That feels pretty good. Just always hope for no leaks. That's the main thing. Okay, so now that that's in, we may be ready for reconnecting here. Now they are showing on the instructions, it's not where you're putting the fuel pump in, but down below here when it says about connecting the hose, it does say 6 Newton meters. So that may be the torque on these bolts, which it will be in your instructions when you get it, 6 Newton meters. And I also forgot to mention, you have to put on your seat. This is to hold your seat, the seat retainer. It's a Phillips screw and a little collar. Put the collar down, put the screw through it, tighten it up. I did put Loctite on that one. And on these grommets on the front, they will give you these aluminum, come here, you son of a, these aluminum bushings with a little washer, all in one shoulder. Put those in there. And now it's saying we should be ready to mount it on the bike. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. I want to tell you one thing right now. When you pull this clip loose, only pull it out that far. Don't take it the whole way out. Make putting it back in much easier. I should know that because I've done it in the automotive industry a lot. Okay. All right. Set it down over the factory posts back here towards the seat and just line these fronts up. Okay, now this is the stock bolt and washer from back here. They tell you to reuse this washer, but you can't get them off the threads. So I had some washers here that I used. This is their bolt, my washer, and they give you this little collar that you put on top of there, or you can put it down into the rubber. Start your bolt. You could, in essence, if you had to, let me see. Nope, they don't fit. I'm going to say you use factory bolts. So just beware of that. I mean, your washers might come right off of those, but mine, or a little tough. I imagine you could eventually put them in a vise and get it screwed off. I'm not that patient. I'm using factory bolts right here. Does not line up well. Needs a push. If we got that one. Okay, I'm going to gently tighten them and then pour some gas in and see if we're leaking and if we can start. So I'll be back with that. see no leaking, so let's see if we fire up as soon as I extract my key from the original fuel tank. There we go. Don't have much gas in it. Okay, we're running. Now, to see how the side panels fit. And remember, they tell you to use anti-seize on these. I'm just doing a little bit of grease again. These are usually always a bitch, whether you get IMS or Acerbis. This shit never lines back up. Like even now, like it's not even, well there it's better. I take that back, I was going to say it's not close. That's actually really good once you get it up in the little hole. Oh, I forgot to put it in the side panel first. Oh, they do give you, I forgot too, they give you that Velcro to put, you can put it here onto the tank. I don't even think I'm going to worry about it. I mean, it popped off from the factory, so it's probably going to pop off of the plastic tank for sure. Where are you at? Got to kind of push on the radiator and the plastic shroud at the same time to get that one started. And you have your little push pin. You want to push the little nubbin up out of the clip sticking out like that to put it back in. I hate these things. I don't know why Honda uses them. Just use bolts. Alright, tank is on and complete. A little bit of a fiasco there, but we got it done. Give you a look at it here now, all back together. There she is. All of her glory. I know guys are like, why didn't you put black on it? Why didn't you put black? Like I said, I like to still be able to see the fuel, and that makes it easier. If you would think maybe something went in the tank or something come out of your fuel in there, you can look in and even periodically check it to see if you got any scum floating around in there and you need to maybe, you know, clean it out or dump your tank out. But I always go with the clear. As you can see, it's on the KLX, and I had it on my DRZ and the CRF300L. And I will mention this tank has like a, it's hard to see, but it's not smooth. It has like a texture on it. It's a little bit rough. I kind of like it. And of course, I don't have a locking cap. Now, one thing I will say, this hose here, they give you a connector right here. So this, if you have your emissions canister on, this will plug into the end of your purple hose, and then you plug it into this would be on your canister on the bike, and you see it came up to the original fuel tank right here. So what happens is you take this off the fuel tank, the original, you put this connector in, and then you put your purple hose off of your fuel cap, you run it down underneath the tank into this. So that goes to your vapor canister. And of course I don't have that on, so that's deleted. And here is the kind of the Velcro they give you, the factory, if you want to put that on. I don't even know if it shows in the instructions, but it would have to go on, I'm going to say either right in here or somewhere in here, but I'm not worried about it. My factory stuff, like I showed you, it was already pulling loose and not sticking anyhow, so that's not a big deal. Here we go. There's your look. Handlebars, seat. It's big, but I mean, I don't mind it. It was big on the CRF300L also, and I did occasionally swap them back and forth. But the thing is, if you don't want this to make your bike heavy, when you fill it up, just put 2 gallons in it. If you're riding around town or just doing a day off-road and you're not on a long trip, just fill it up to with 2 gallons, and then you're no heavier than you were with the stock tank. You just have a little bit of the girth, you know, from side to side. And the panels did fit up well. After I got both of these on, they both lined up and fit up really good. Probably the best. That's an IMS tank. It was a little tough getting lined up. And on the CRF300L I had in the Acerbis tank, and it was really tough getting the side panels on. This here went right on. This was actually really awesome. Everything lined up real good. And no leaks so far. Keep our fingers crossed. And I just put this hose up over and down through, and like a typical dirt bike, out on top of the fender, dripping out. I've never had nothing come out of there. Maybe if this tank is full and the bike falls over, sure. But put it into your emissions tank and you'll never have to worry about it. So there you go. Any questions about the tank or the install, put them down below. I'm not an expert, but I will let you know what I did. Oh, and another thing I want to mention. First thing, don't be an idiot like me. As soon as you take your stock tank off, take the cap off of it and dump it out. I don't know what I was thinking when I left the gas in it. That was kind of idiotic. So do that, and that little clip I showed you, when you on the gas line itself, make sure you don't pull it the whole way off like I did. Pull it out, you know, pull it out like about 1/8 of an inch, so you see about 1/8 of an inch between the fuel line fitting and that inside of that white clip. Then it will pop off, then it will be easy to go back on. Okay. Like, subscribe, hop on your CRF with your new big fat tank and get outside.